guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing the end of year book tag. I was tagged to do this by Russell from Ink and Paper blog, so I'll leave a link to his video down below. And the original creator of this video was Ariel, from her channel's Ariel Bissett. So again, I will leave a link to the original video down below. There are 6 questions in this tag, so let's jump into the first question. The first question is, are there any books that you need to finish before the end of the year? And when I saw this question, I laughed because I only decided a week ago to officially DNF 4321 by Paul Auster. I decided I just didn't care anymore, and that was kind of a really weighty tome that was hanging over my head. I got, I think, about 180 pages into it, something like that, and I'd been reading it since just before the Man Booker winner was announced, so it'd been going for at least a month and I just hadn't picked it back up again, and I decided that I just didn't really care. So I decided, yeah, I'm just going to put that back on my shelf. I'm not going to worry about it and I'll pick it up at some other point. I don't know when that's going to be. But then I'm in the middle of reading a couple of other books at the moment. The first of which is Another Day in the Death of America by Gary Young. This is about 10 young people who died because of gun crime in America, and each chapter in this is about a different young person that died. I'm about halfway through this at the moment and really enjoying it. And then the other book that I'm in the middle of is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. This is the first book in, I think, a 7-book series, and it follows a group of sisters who have, when they were young, they were adopted, and right at the beginning of the book their father dies of a heart attack and they're all called back to the island where they originally lived, to kind of deal with the fact that he's died. And this is told from the perspective of one of the sisters called Maya. And he kind of leaves each of the sisters a letter with some sort of clue about where they came from, where he adopted them from, that sort of thing, and she goes off to kind of try and find out where she is from. So I'm about 150 pages into this at the moment. I really like this, and I think it's going to be quite quick to get through. But I'm not worried about finishing those at all. These are just books that I'm kind of in the middle of and I need to finish. So question number 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And the answer to that is not really. I kind of feel like we're rapidly approaching winter now, so a lot of the books that I've picked up are either wintry or just things that I generally want to read. I feel like I've read quite a lot of autumnal books already, so yeah, I haven't really got an answer for that one. Question number 3 is there a new release that you're still waiting for? Again, not really. There aren't a lot of books that come out in December that really interest me. A lot of them are kind of biography and autobiography ready for Christmas, and that doesn't really interest me that much. So a lot of the ones I'm excited about kind of I've already picked up and showed you in my various hauls. Question number 4 is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? And you'll recognise these if you've seen my December TBR. So one of them is Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. This ticks off my challenge of read a book from every continent apart from Europe, because this is partly set in Antarctica. So I'm hoping to get that done before the end of the year. I also am desperate to read Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This tells the story of a woman who is a bit of a recluse and in a really kind of quite strict routine, but quite lonely at the same time, and then I think she meets somebody and everything changes. Heard nothing but fantastic things about this, and I'm really eager to get to it in December. And then the third book is The Last Days of Cafe Layla by Donya Bijan, and this is a book that I won earlier in the year from Russell, Ink and Paper blog, and it's about a woman who has recently divorced her husband, and she goes with her son back to her home country of Iran and helps out at her father's restaurant. and it's about her kind of learning to find herself again, I suppose, but it's also set against the backdrop of Iran, which I think would be really interesting to read about, and also the kind of whole restaurant thing really appeals to me. Question number 5 is there a book that you think could shock you and become your favourite of the year? And I think there's only one that could be a possibility, and that may be The Good People by Hannah Kent. I am buddy reading this with Russell, it's a bit of a theme there at the moment, and not very far into it, but I absolutely loved Burial Rites at the beginning of the year, so I'm hoping to like her writing just as much in this. And it started off really well. Yeah, I'm not very far into it, so we'll see. I think probably this, or maybe Eleanor Oliphant, could be one that could shock me, but I've got quite a lot of favourites already, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then the last question is, have you started making reading plans for 2018? And I have. I've got quite a few ideas. So I am thinking of doing some sort of a TBR kind of takedown thing. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna call it at the moment, but I've got so many books that I own on my shelves that I really need to get my TBR down a lot next year, especially because I've really missed going to the library and kind of seeing people's videos where they go to the library and their library hauls and things like that. I really kind of should make use of my library more, and just kind of get around to buying books that I really want to own on my shelves, things that I've read and that I love. And I can't do that when I've got such a big physical TBR as I have at the moment, so I'm really working on a project to kind of get that down next year. And then I've got a couple of other ideas in mind, so I want to take part in lots of my fellow booktubers book clubs that they have on Goodreads next year. So Russell's just starting one in January, Krista from Books and Jams has had a Goodreads buddy group for a long time, Lisa from Books and Smiles, Robin from The Driftless Reader, April from Getting Hooga With It. There are lots around at the moment, and I really have wanted to take part, but I've only managed to do that once this year, so I want to make more of an effort to join in with those. And then I've got a couple of other ideas that I'm kind of batting around at the moment. There you go guys, they were my answers to the end of the year book tag. I'm not really sure who's done this and who hasn't, so I'm just going to say, if you haven't done this and you really want to, then consider yourself tagged. As always, I love having a chat with you in the comments guys, so if you've got anything that you want to talk to me about to do with any of the books that I've mentioned, or what your reading plans are for 2018, I love having a chat with you as always. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.